I'm Leah Lawrence.
And I'm her husband, Mitch Lawrence.
And you are listening to the Southern Spirits Podcast, where I regale my husband with Southern stories of the macabre, creepy, and strange.
And I drink.
So what are you drinking tonight, Mitchell?
Our beer tonight is Abualita's Coquito Imperial Cream Ale, brewed and canned by Mia Brewing Company, Incorporated, in Doral, Florida. 8.2% alcohol by volume. Let's read the can. Inspired by the Latin version of eggnog, this Imperial Cream Ale will remind you of Abuela's homemade coquito, brewed with coconut, vanilla, cinnamon, and lactose, finished with Caribbean rum-soaked oak chips. End quote. So if you're like me and don't know what the fuck coquito is,
Coquito.
and you say it coquito, just like that, it is exactly what it says here. I Googled it to look it up. It's Puerto Rican version of eggnog. And it's very similar, but there's also a little bit more in it, like coconut. So, yeah, it's really freaking good. I like this a whole lot, more than I thought I would.
I don't love it because I don't really like those Christmassy flavors in a beer. Mm-hmm. It seems a little weird to me, but it does taste nice. It's just not what I personally want from a beer. But the flavors and stuff, if that's your bag, if you like coconut, which I do not, I think you would really like that. And the can is absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
So pretty. So
well, here's what I had to say. The coconut really pops out. That's the first big thing. Never really had a coconut in a beer, I don't think, but this is really freaking good. And for me, Imperials are always kind of hit or miss because of the initial sharp bite from their high alcohol content, but this one quickly gives way to that coconut and vanilla flavor. It's really refreshing, just really good. Leah, of course, doesn't like it. But
not my favorite, but it's a really mellow, kind of spicy Christmas vibe. And I get that some people are really into that, and it's just not me.
9 out of 10 from me. Real good. I recommend trying it. And the cans are just, they're so pretty. The only thing that you get, there's just a little spot on the back there where it says what it is, but it's just really floral and pretty, and I like it. It
looks like Spanish mission tiles, like that geometric floral situation. They're really pretty.
Yeah. Well, I love it. So let's go on to the Shot in the Dark. Chipper Jones Sweet Tea Moonshine, produced and bottled by Sugarlands Distilling Company, LLC, in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. 20% alcohol by volume. And for the full review and for a nice, fun little personal story, you can refer to episode number 140 called A Fun Little Bit of Prankeries. You can hear how Chipper Jones and I are mortal enemies.
I don't think that's quite the precise story,
I've
but
I've moved on. I'm his mortal enemy. Fucker needs to grow up.
Oh,
10 out of 10. It's a wonderful product. Chipper Jones had nothing to do with the making of it, so it's fantastic. So
he's just signed his Hall of Fame signature on it. So
yeah,
there you go.
Fucking douchebag. All right, well, that is it for the alcohols, Leah. That was nice, quick, and easy today. So before we move on, let's just say we are recording this for YouTube. Yep. We're going to see if it goes up in the morning. What I mean by that is we're going to see if we have time to fix it for YouTube. So
yeah, it's been an absolute struggle bus trying to figure out the best method of filming ourselves and putting it on the internet. I've done that for just myself, but there's a lot more moving parts and audio and it's a lot more work than I assumed it was going to be when I suggested it, or I would not have suggested it. Yeah. So we've completely revamped and redone our podcast room to allow us to film ourselves doing it. So we've made it so far, but I'm still not sure that we've got it down completely. So we're going to give it a shot. So if this is up on our YouTube channel, hey guys, super pumped to see you here. If not, we're going to try again next week, but we will let you know one way or the other 100% on our social media channels as soon as it is going to be an ongoing thing.
So here's to hoping that it works.
Fingers crossed.
And hoping that the audio also works.
Yeah.
So we've never done, well, we've streamed and done audio at the same time when we did some Facebook Lives, but we've never like full on just recorded and done audio on the same machine.
Yeah.
So let's see if nothing fucks up. Fingers crossed. And I'm noticing one thing we need to stop doing, Leah. We need to stop looking up at the monitor to make sure that everything's okay. Focus on the camera.
Yeah. Also, our camera may or may not look like we're recording on a potato. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see.
It's a lot of back and forth, a little trying to figure out lighting out of random
oh my God, y'all.
stuff that we've got.
If you've never used a fucking chroma key, don't. Jesus Christ. Like, everything's all fuzzy. Like, if you're watching the video, you'll see that, like, there's fuzz going on. There's a shadow.
Yeah, we're still definitely...
Oh, my God.
We're still definitely working on settings and trying to figure things out. But, you know, if you get so far as to see this video, just know that we're working on it. We know that it's not perfect, but we are attempting to make it as nice as possible and just to be able to expand the show so more people can see us, because not everybody listens to, you know, downloadable podcast stuff. Some people are just strictly YouTube kind of folks. So I'm just asking people to bear with us as we venture into more regular video content. So anyway,
we'll see.
Beyond that ramble, guess what?
What?
We have a brand new member of the Possum Pass.
Oh, shit. Let's get some sound effects for everybody. There's a lightsaber and a laser. We'll do a monkey. We did a monkey last time. Let's do whip crack. Okay.
No whip crack.
Okay. Now we'll do it with a yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
And here we go. Okay.
All right. Well, that was great. I just wanted to welcome our brand new Possum Passel member, Gabby. Hey, Gabby. Thank you so much for joining the Possum Passel. You're all, you know, our wonderful, fantastical Possum Passel are helping keep our show going and keeping booze flowing, and we super duper appreciate it. You help keep our server space purchased, etc. So thank y'all so much. And if anybody else wants to join if anyone else wants to join the Possum Passel and become a member,
you can join the member too.
Yeah, you can do that at patreon.com/Southern Spirits Podcast. Super not, you know, required or necessary, but if you've got a couple of extra bucks, you're more than welcome to give them to us. We're not going to say no. But thank you, Gabby.
Nice of you, Leah.
Yes. Look, beggars can't be choosers. I don't think that's an appropriate phrase for this, but
no, I don't know what you're talking about now. Beggars can't be choosers, y'all. You got disposable income? Pass it over.
Yeah, that wasn't the right phrase at all. Fuck.
Jesus, Leah.
I can't think of a phrase that's appropriate other than, you know, thanks to the folks that give us money and thanks to the folks that just listen, because we love you just as much.
Yeah.
Maybe not just as much, but pretty close.
Like, there are tiers, and they're all listed on Patreon. Y'all figure it out.
But we do super appreciate everybody that just listens.
Let me go edit those tiers in Patreon real quick. We love you a little bit, Gabby. A smidge. More than just a plain old free listener.
You're ridiculous. But anyway, thank you so much, Gabby. Welcome to the Possum Passel. We're going to be sending out that note and those stickers shortly. So hope you enjoy those. And if anybody else wants stickers, give us $1 and we'll send you stickers.
Listen, you get 1 sticker's worth of love.
No, it's 10 stickers. I give them a whole thing of 10 stickers and 2 of our Patreon exclusive stickers that are the same design as our...
Oh, you are wearing the shirt.
Yeah, I'm wearing the shirt. So if this makes it to video, it's the same design.
We have dessert.
It's the same design as the t-shirt that I'm wearing, but it's just the possum clutching our trash adjacent bottle.
We will send you dessert.
Yeah. So, no, I'm not sending anybody dessert. I mean, I could, because the cookies that we make are pretty bomb.
I was about to say, the Thermomix can make some fucking cookies.
It can. We make fantastic cookies, but, you know, shipping food over state lines to strangers seems a little sketch, and I'm not going to get in part.
All right.
It's a little iffy.
No, I was talking about Ezra sent the peach rings.
Oh, no, but those were from, like, a third party, and they were sealed and also fucking... Yeah,
okay.
she sent them from a company that fulfilled the order. It wasn't just like she emptied a bag of peach rings into a sack. No, it was completely sealed from a third-party company. Perfectly normal and fine, and thank you very much.
And thank you.
I'm sorry. Peach rings are my favorite. Anyway. Yeah, Possum Passel, huzzah. Thank you, Gabby. And anyway, are you ready for a sassy Southern saying?
Me?
Yes.
I'm so ready.
Okay.
Hit me with it.
This is one that my grandmother says on a regular basis.
Again, welcome to Leah's therapy section.
It's not really therapy. This one's fine. But the phrase is, were you born in a barn?
That's a Southern one?
Yeah.
I thought everybody just said that. That just means you're gross.
No, it doesn't.
Pick up after yourself. Take a bath.
No.
There's something wrong with you. Grow up.
Nope. It just means shut the fucking door.
Oh. I mean, it also means everything I said.
No. Anytime a Southern old lady says, "Were you born in a barn?" it means shut the fucking door. You left the door open, ma'am, shut the door.
But, like, you also close barn doors. I don't understand that. You close barn doors when you leave them or else all the horses get out.
Look, every time I've ever, any person, not just my grandmother,
Leah.
but anybody around here, if anybody says, "Were you born in a barn?" you've left a door open somewhere and you need to go shut it.
I'm so glad we're addressing this in your therapy section because, look, your grandmother fucked you up beyond belief.
She did
by
not.
giving you the incorrect sayings.
She's a lovely lady.
Well, I agree. She's pretty awesome. She makes some fucking good cookies too.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, those banana pudding cookies are the best.
Those are technically my brother's recipe, but fine.
Well,
real good.
Whatever. I don't care who makes them. I'm going to eat all of them next time we go over there. That and her fried chicken. Ooh, we've talked about it before. Let's not bring it up again.
Oh, now
I'm
you're
getting
just making me hungry.
We haven't eaten dinner yet. Speaking of dessert.
That's fine. Anyway.
Go ahead.
That was the sassy Southern saying. Yay!
Oh, well, that one was underwhelming.
All right. I'm sorry that I was underwhelming this week.
You did fine.
As always. But anyway, are you ready to go to the very first story of the evening?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because we're going to Texas.
Okay.
And we are going to be talking about a lovely ghost called the White Lady of the Rio Frio.
Oh, okay. What's a Frio?
Frio is the name of the river. Rio is river in Spanish. Rio Frio. The Frio River.
Okay.
I don't know what the word Frio means. You might want to Google it, but
I'm all right. If you're not going to tell me, I'm not going to worry about it.
Look, I did not take Spanish in high school, and I took a semester of Spanish in college and got through on my adorableness. So,
oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, it actually was. I've discussed this before. It was just because I was theatrical and everything was pretty basic. So, I translated the things that I need to for like because she did a lot of like in-person speeches. So I made a lot of really crafty speech to like visual aids, because a visual aid in Spanish was always part of it. So I made like paper dolls and posters and just stuff that was super fucking cute. Like I did it up big time on the visual aid, and then I had a friend that actually was a native Spanish speaker check over like everything.
You told me that. You cheated.
Yeah,
you cheated your way through
I
Spanish.
mean, I cheated a little.
Yeah.
And I memorized everything, and I memorized where so I spoke really slow, like the slowest fucking Spanish. Y'all, I know I already speak slow, but apparently, like, just Spanish is a much more rapid
Did you learn about
language.
Coquito?
No,
Coquito?
we didn't. But Spanish is a much more rapid language than Southern English is. So I was just, my abuelo is, just
My
very.
abuelo's Coquito is very coconutty.
Anyway, so I was just very overexcited and dramatic. And, my brother is very tall, which he's not. But, for the purposes of this.
You're doing a line reading. You're not telling a story.
My father is very handsome.
This isn't an autobiography.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be right. My dog is very long. Just telling stories
My
about your family.
baloney has a first name.
It's Oscar. It's pretty great.
I wanted you to spell it because I don't know letters in Spanish, so
Neither do I.
I don't know Spanish
I learned
letters.
very little in that. I was so bad at languages that I legitimately had to take another science course so I could get a BS instead of a BA, because I was that bad. And if you know me, I was very bad at math, so I wasn't going to take an extra math class.
Yeah,
So I
but at
had to
least
take
math
an
is
extra.
It's the same across the board.
No,
So
this bitch
it's not
can't.
in Spanish.
This bitch cannot do math whatsoever. And I mean, I do have a legitimate learning disability that keeps me from being able to process numbers the way other people do. So like I said, it's hard for me. It's always been a struggle. So I took astronomy instead, and that was pretty great.
Well, I was hoping it was astrology.
No, it was astronomy and chemistry kind of sucked, but I had the professor that liked to do experiments and light shit on fire, so it was fun. I probably shouldn't have passed that class, but he liked me, so I got a better grade than I probably deserved. But anyway, that was fine. It's fine. He knew I was a theater major. He knew I wasn't going to like chemistry in the real world.
I wasn't going to chemistry. Yeah, whatever that means. That's become a verb, I guess.
What are you going to do? Anyway, the White Lady of the Rio Frio.
Shit. Go.
You forgot.
Yeah.
So, this story is said to be a true story, but whether it is or not, who the fuck knows? But it's a good story, so I'm gonna tell it. It's set in the early 1900s, around the Rio Frio River the Frio River in Texas. And there was a young girl there, and her name was Maria Juarez, and her sister were gorgeous. Her sister was a little bit older than her by, 5 or 6 years. But they were both beautiful and lovely, and her sister had already gotten married. Her sister married a man named Gregorio, and they had
That's a hell of a name.
Gregorio,
I like that a
love
lot.
it. So Gregorio and Maria's sister, who never gets a name in the story, are married, and they have some young kids. And Maria is living with them and helping take care of the kids, and just being a helpful sister, kind of waiting until it was her turn to be old enough to marry and have her own children. And she was really into the whole idea of having her own kids, having a husband, having her own household. She was that girl, like she wanted her happily ever after fairy tale, spit out a bunch of babies kind of situation. That was what she wanted. And she was just so excited to help her sister in her, household until it was her time. So she was doing that for a while until she got old enough to start being noticed by men, I suppose. And so she had become a young debutante, I suppose. And people started noticing that she was pretty hot. Like, Maria was a looker. And not only did the townsfolk notice that Maria was a looker, Gregorio started noticing that his sister-in-law was a looker. And that's not great, and it's a little creepy if you ask me. But Maria also caught the eye of a young man named Anselmo Tobar, which is a fucking great name.
Well, oh my
Anselmo
God,
Tobar.
If there's... I fucking love Spanish names. I really
know.
do.
I could listen to, like... I like... I don't understand a lick of Spanish. Like, I if it's written out, I do pretty well, because I've seen more written Spanish but they speak so quickly that I'm too slow. I don't know enough vocabulary, so I can't. But I love listening to like telenovela, like Telemundo kind of TV, just because it sounds so pretty.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know that's weird, but I did used to watch, especially when I was homesick in high school and Telemundo was on the basic cable package that we got. I would sit there and I would like kind of fall asleep to it like it was ASMR, just because I thought it was a soothing sound. But anyway, but yes, Anselmo Tobar. And so he noticed Maria, and Maria noticed Anselmo.
What did she notice about him?
That he was handsome as shit. He was a young cowboy that was just, handsome, and they started courting. And Anselmo just fell completely deeply in love for Maria, and he started bringing her wildflowers and singing her songs and speaking poetry to her. And eventually he's like, hey girl, hey, you want to get married to me? And she was like, fuck yeah, I want to get married to you because you're handsome. And so they got really excited and they started planning their wedding. But, she was still a little too young to be married right then. So they were having a little bit of a long engagement. So they were planning things together, and they were going to get married, later the next year. And so they were just, an in-love engaged couple, just being lovey-dovey and whatnot. But one afternoon that summer, Gregorio shows up.
Oh no.
And Gregorio takes Maria aside, and Maria at this point doesn't know that Gregorio is a creep. So she goes aside with him.
She knew.
And says, hey, Gregorio, what's up, brother-in-law? And Gregorio's like, Maria, I love you. And she's like, oh, dude, that's fucking creepy. You're my brother-in-law. You're fucking my sister. This is weird. And Maria was like, dude, absolutely not. I'm in love with Anselmo. You're supposed to be in love with my sister. You need to leave me the hell alone. It's not okay. Me and Anselmo are about to get married and have all the babies, so you leave me alone.
All of them.
All of them. And so Gregorio, like a lot of aggro evil dudes do, he went into a rage and he started screaming and ranting and just really upset that she scorned his love, you know. And so Maria freaked out and ran away, and she was worried that, like, he was going to hurt her or hurt her sister or hurt their children. So she ran away, just leaving him freaking out, ranting, raving, all of that stuff. And so she went back to hang out, you know, at her own home, just trying to kind of be rid of that feeling, that gross, icky, I've been hit on and screamed at by my brother-in-law kind of situation. And so she was just kind of like trying to calm down, to let go of it, to not be freaked out by it. But later in the evening, she was like, Anselmo's going to come, because he always came in the evening after his work was done.
Yeah, he is.
So they could sit in the courtyard and, like, hang out and, like, you know, chat about their upcoming nuptials.
Because he wasn't an aggro evil dude.
No, he was Anselmo. He was just divine, you know? And so she was waiting for Anselmo to get there like he always did. And she hears a noise in the darkness, and she's like, oh, it's Anselmo. I'm so excited. Anselmo. Yes. But unfortunately, it was not Anselmo. Gregorio steps out of the shadows, and she had gone out to meet him because she thought it was Anselmo, and she's like, oh, fucking shit, this is Gregorio. This is not good. This is really not good. No. And so she starts backing up, like, hey, dude, like, yeah, I thought we decided that you were going to fuck off. And he was like, no, sir, I was not going to do that. And so he pulled a pistol on her.
Gregorio said, we didn't decide shit.
Gregorio was
said
pissed off.
Something, but I didn't decide a goddamn thing.
Yeah, because he was,
Go ahead.
Bad person. Anyway, so he pulls a gun on her, and she freezes and sees that he's most definitely going to shoot her, and she's very upset, and she couldn't do anything. There was no way to defend herself, and he shot her in the chest. Like, that's he you know, shot her in the chest.
Wait. Do you mean? Okay.
Yeah, a little too soon. We're about there, but
because I was gonna say,
I get it.
That was not a good gun noise.
No, but he shot her in the chest, and so Maria died, and she realized as she was dying, she would never get to marry Anselmo. She would never get to have those children, and that left her with this huge unfinished business. You know, she never got that maternal thing that she wanted. She never got to realize her dreams, and that just fucked her up. And I guess it made her become a ghosty ghost. But before we get to the ghosty ghost part, shot in the dark.
Nope, it's time now.
Hey, where did Gregorio hide after he shot Maria? Was it A, in a tall tree, B, in a cellar, or C, in a barn?
Oh man, are you connecting the sassy southern saying here with the barn? Because I know he came out of the bushes. You said that.
He came out of the bushes.
He came out of, darkness. I know bushes were involved.
Yeah.
I like the idea of him hiding up a tree. I'm going to say in a tree.
You are incorrect, sir.
Shit.
He hid in a barn. It was a barn.
I'm very upset.
I'm sorry
that you connected those two things, but
I didn't honestly in my head until you said it, but cool.
Chipper Jones, you're a douchebag. This is for you.
Don't be mean to Chip. He didn't. Well, he
Chipper
kind of
Jones doesn't give a shit
but
if I'm mean to Chipper Jones.
That's true. That's very true. Anyway, so
that's wonderful.
Yeah. He realized that he had gone done and fucked up. As soon as he shot her and saw her dying, he was like, "Oh shit! Wait, no, rage. Can we not? Fuck. You know how anybody feels after they do something stupid in the heat of the moment.
Not me, because I've never done something stupid.
I've done something stupid, but I've never shot anybody. Like, I mean,
yet.
My rage is like intense, but it's like crumpling a piece of paper. It's not shooting someone. So, I mean, knock on wood, we keep it that way. But
This table's plastic. There you go. knock on particle board.
It's close enough. It's tree adjacent. Oh, Lord. Anyway.
Trash Adjacent Productions is no longer incorporated. We are now Tree Adjacent Productions.
Anyway. So, yeah. He ran to the barn and he burrowed into the hayloft and, like, just laid down and tried to shut the fuck up because he didn't have any plan. No. He had left the gun out in the courtyard with her body.
He could have just run off.
Yeah, he could have like just left, which is what he should have done because back then you couldn't really trace people.
Well,
but,
if we're rooting for him, yes, that's what he should have done.
Yeah, sure, but we're not. He's a douchebag.
Awful person.
Anyway, so he knew that everybody in town was going to be super mad at him because everybody loved Maria because everybody loves Maria.
Yeah.
But he was just like, if Maria doesn't want me, Anselmo's sure as hell not going to have her, so he shot her. And so he's freaking out. He hides in the hayloft, and all the townspeople heard the gunshot and are like, hey, wonder what's going on. They find Maria's body and was like, what? Excuse me? What? Who was mad? It's Maria. Everybody loves Maria. And no one really suspected Gregorio because no one knew that he was a creep ass. And so they were just like absolutely bumfuzzled. No idea what happened, who would have wanted her dead, anything like that. So the next morning they assembled a posse and they had horses and dogs and they were trying to sniff out who did it and figure out what was going on.
They were sniffing them out with the horses?
Sniffing them out with the dogs. It said horses and dogs.
Yeah, but you said they were all sniffing them out.
They were sniffing them out. And so while
Do you think horses can do that?
I have no idea.
They're probably as reliable as dogs. Do you know how unreliable drug-sniffing dogs are?
Very?
Extremely. Like, over half the time they're wrong. There's no point in using them.
But they're so cute.
Wait, okay, that's...
I just like dogs. I don't think they should be made to like narc on people. I just think dogs are cute.
The utility of a drug-sniffing dog does not equate to the cuteness.
Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand that the policing techniques are outdated and a little iffy, but I'm just saying dogs are cute and I like dogs. But anyway, I know it has nothing to do with each other, but dogs. But anyway, the horses aren't sniffing, the dogs are sniffing. So they're looking for this guy that they don't know who is. And who he is. And so anyway, the women in town are preparing Maria's body for burial. And they're trying to find, this is an unexpected death. It's not something that she had prepared for. And generally speaking, a lot of the times back then when someone died, they were buried in their wedding gown. And she hadn't had time to get a wedding gown yet. So her sister provided her wedding gown to dress Maria up in. So she was dressed in this beautiful gown. They braided ribbons and flowers in her hair. They, laid her out for her service. And eventually the dogs picked up a scent and they traced it to the barn. And they're like, okay, someone's fucking in this barn. Let's find out who it is. And eventually the dogs start barking and they've basically treed the dude in the barn. And he eventually comes out and is like, yeah, I totally killed her. Sorry, guys. This is what happened. Sorry. And anyway, he eventually confesses to the murder and he was arrested and put on trial and sent to prison for his crimes.
His crimes.
His crimes.
Yes.
And Anselmo later got married to a different woman and had kids there. And yeah.
Gotta move on.
Yeah, definitely. And Maria, was buried in an unmarked grave near the river.
Why is it unmarked?
Because I guess markers were probably not as big a thing back then.
Was
I
she
don't
poor?
know. Yeah, probably. I don't know. This is folklore, honey. I don't have very specific things to tell you.
None of this happened.
I told you when we started this. People say it's true, but
I mean, I think a big indicator is that her sister doesn't have a name. She's just the sister.
But with great names like Anselmo and Gregorio, why would...
That's another indicator. Like, those guys' names were Jim and Rick. They were white dudes. It's like, let's make it a little more exotic and fun.
I mean, it was Texas. The Mexican Spanish names are probably okay, like in that area. If it was like here, yeah, it was probably Ted and his brother Jim Bob. But like in Texas, you've got a little bit more exoticness that you could, it makes more sense in that area.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they say that she was, buried there near the river, but her spirit is still roaming the whole entirety of the canyon. It's just not one location that this woman haunts. She haunts along the river, but she's also said, so the people that live in that area near that river, she's known to appear to children in those households near the river. She appears and she will like sit at the foot of children's beds. She'll tuck them in at night if they've left their blankets off or something.
Don't like that.
She'll sit at their beds, sort of guarding them. And she appears to mostly children, and the children will see her as just a woman dressed in a beautiful white dress.
Not a fan.
And they just sort of hang out with her, and she's just a nice, lovely spirit. She's not malevolent in any way. She just generally appears to children and is more of a guardian spirit for them because she wanted to be able to have her own children and her own family and life and wasn't able to do that. So in death, she creeps on kids.
Not a fan. Fuck off, Maria. Fuck off. Yeah. I understand that you wanted something, but I want a good night's sleep.
Yeah, well.
Fuck off.
But I mean, everybody that's reported that I've read, and once again, internet, who knows, but everybody that's reported seeing her or have had children see her report her as a very benevolent spirit that makes everybody feel calm. It's not like a scary thing. She's got a very calming presence. So
I don't give a fuck. You weren't invited.
Anyway,
go away.
Excuse me, but all of those stories were taken from two fun Texas blogs, TexasEscapes.com and TexasHillCountry.com. Both of them have fun articles and stories written out about those that story specifically, and some fun firsthand testimony kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that story, check out those two blogs. I really like especially the Texas Escapes because they've got all sorts of fun stuff about Texas history that I enjoy. So check Texas Escapes and Texas Hill Country out.
Okay. I'll do that.
Do that.
I guess.
All right. So the next story.
Moving right along.
Look, the next story is upsetting.
To whom?
Everybody, if they're good people.
Oh, we'll see.
I will say that if it's a trigger for you, it does involve abortion and baby selling. So if that's something that's going to trigger you, please turn away. Bye. Love y'all. See y'all next week. So like I said, it's we
don't love you as much if you were paying though. But
no, we do. We love you very much. But I'm just saying, if anything around that kind of childhood trauma kind of situation is triggering for you, not the story for you. If it is, hey, continue. No problem. But I just wanted...
This is right up your alley.
This is right up your alley. Very much in the Georgia Tan kind of... I was
going to say, this sounds like Ric Flair again.
Yeah, this is very much in the Georgia Tan genre. So if that story fucked you up, stop listening.
Speaking of, let me just say, we talked last week about how all the previous episodes are now available.
Yeah.
And we talked about how they're not necessarily... on par with what we're doing now. But I do want to say that I equate our podcast with Breaking Bad in the sense that the first couple seasons of that are a little slow the first time you watch it, but you absolutely need those first couple seasons for context in the last few great seasons, and that's where we are. We are exactly like Breaking Bad. The first few episodes are like really rough, but you need them. I
don't know about that, but okay. It's a deep lore. What are we going to do?
You absolutely do not need those first few episodes.
You don't. It's fine. Don't worry about them. But anyway, as long as everybody that's cool and wants to be here is still here.
Do seek that one out, though, the Georgia Tan one.
Yeah, that one is a real fucked up story.
I don't know the number of it.
I don't either, but yeah, it's available.
I'm going to search it real quick. Go ahead.
So we're going to go to Georgia, and we're going to be talking about the Hicks babies.
Okay.
So, like I said, this one's kind of a fucking weird situation, but anyway, we're going to talk about it. So there was a doctor in Georgia, and his name was Thomas Jagarthy Hicks.
Oh. Okay.
Jugarthy. Jugarthy. I love that name. But anyway, his name is Thomas Jugarthy Hicks, and so he was
Found it.
kind of a shady dude to begin with. He got his medical.
Give me 1 second.
Medical degree.
While you're figuring that out, Georgia 10 is episode number 14, entitled Piezoelectric Hootenanny.
Oh, I loved that one.
It's a long way back,
Yeah.
but absolutely one of my favorites because it was something I didn't know about. Well, it's a shot in the dark, but I've already said it. Ric Flair. I had no idea.
Yeah, it was a good one. I
Y'all,
like
go
that
find that.
episode.
Go find that. It's wonderful. It's worth it.
Anyway, so Thomas Hicks got his medical degree from Emory University in Atlanta in 1917. And then he moved to Copper Hill, Tennessee. But he kind of lost his medical license there for doing some shady shit. And he served time in federal prison because he was selling narcotic painkillers.
Oh, well,
Hey, he was ahead of the curve on that one.
I was going to
you know?
say, like, did he have some opiates?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what he was doing.
Did he have some scissor?
I don't think it was called that then, but I mean, yeah, he was.
Have you ever taken that fucking awesome, like, prescription only cough syrup? Because it is amazing.
Yeah, I have.
That shit is so good.
I've spent like most of my life sick. I've 100% had the good stuff.
Leah.
But I am actually allergic to codeine, which is what most of those
don't do
are.
that.
I'm allergic to codeine, and it makes me have visual hallucinations.
Oh, no. Never mind. Never mind.
So every time as a kid that they gave me codeine cough syrup, I would see like spots and bubbles and like stuff. It was never anything like I saw a person or anything walking around.
Yeah.
But I had visual hallucinations and fogs and just fucking weird shit going on.
Yeah.
So like my mom didn't know about that until I was like in middle school, and like I was sitting in gym one day and I had taken that cough syrup before, and I
you
had an
shouldn't have
early
gone.
gym, but I had taken that cough syrup because I had felt better, but I was trying to keep my cough down. Anyway, I was sitting in gym tripping my balls off, like just seeing bubbles all around, and I'm just sitting here staring at them. And one of my friends that was in gym with me was like, Leah, are you okay? What's going on? I was like, I'm just watching the bubbles.
Yeah, just watching the bubbles, man. Listen, just watching the bubbles.
Anyway.
Look, I'm in no way advocating for illegally taking that stuff, selling it, getting it illegally in any way. But when you got it, oh man, that shit's good. It feels so good. Like it's like hearing people who were addicted to heroin talk about heroin. Because they say, I absolutely do not advocate you going out and doing heroin, but it's the fucking best. They all say that, every one of them.
Like I said, that experience, I never get codeine cough syrup anymore because it gives me visual hallucinations.
Now we got to do it. Like, that's a live stream if I've ever heard.
No, as an adult, my doctor is like, do you want codeine cough syrup? And I'm like, probably not a good idea. Like, just personally for me, it's not a good idea. But yeah, I don't do that because I have to drive as an adult now, and that's never a good idea. So
I also don't advocate anybody doing heroin. Just want to say that. I'm just saying I've heard good things.
absolutely do not say that shit. Oh my God.
I'm just saying, like, I've never done heroin. I don't ever want to do heroin. I'm just saying I've heard really good things.
My body fucks up on Tylenol.
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
need any actual drugs to no.
My limited experience with marijuana is enough to tell me don't do anything that's going to alter how you live and how your brain functions.
No, I already
don't do any of that.
I'm fucked up, like for real. Like, just my brain's messed up. It just is. It does weird shit. Like I said, codeine makes me visually hallucinate, and then there's an anti-nausea medication that they give you when you're like in the hospital and have had surgery and you're nauseous after that. Anyway, it's called Phenergan.
Yeah, that stuff's bad for you.
Yeah,
I know that.
They gave me a shot of Phenergan, and I cried like I was projectile vomiting, so it was necessary. They needed to. I'm allergic to anesthesia too, by the way. My body
You're allergic
just
to everything.
Yeah, my body just does not handle anesthesia very well, and so when I wake up from anesthesia, I'm throwing up the whole time. So it's really not a cute look on me. But so they gave me Phenergan. Usually I request Zofran because it doesn't do that to me, but they didn't know that. And anyway, they injected my IV with Finnegan, and I was like, oh, this is what we're doing now. And I went from like vomiting and feeling bad to crying hysterically and then hysterically laughing and then crying hysterically while I was hysterically laughing. There was this fucked up.
That's fun.
I could not control. Like I was sobbing and laughing at the same time for a good 45 minutes uncontrollably, and people were like starting to back away from me because they were concerned for their safety. Like that's the kind of shit that medicine does to me, so I don't want to handle. I don't think that's a good idea for Leah. I just don't.
This episode brought to you by the fine people at Finnegan. Now that we're on YouTube, we're going to start doing ads, and this is just the perfect spot. For all of your anesthesia needs, we recommend Finnegan.
It's a fantastic medication for people that can tolerate it, but apparently my body does not tolerate it. And so I sat there after I was in middle school because I had just had my first knee surgery. So my first orthopedic surgery, and they injected me with that shit. And so I'm like a 13-year-old, 14-year-old girl just sobbing and like laughing hysterically at the same time. It is probably a very terrifying situation. I don't know.
I wish it was recorded. I would have loved to have seen that.
I don't remember it very well, but I do know that happened. And from then on, it was in my chart, don't give this bitch Finnegan.
Listen, this little bitch, she's a problem. She
so
don't
true.
need Finnegan.
So true.
Okay,
anyway,
what did this guy do? He was giving people scissor.
So he was selling narcotic painkillers.
Yes.
So he got sent to federal prison for a while. And while he was incarcerated, because he was a doctor, they allowed him to study and do shit. So anyway, he was studying while he was in prison a lung disease that was specific to copper miners that kept them from living past the age of 40. Like it was sort of like the black lung version of for copper miners, whatever that particular disease happens to be. I'm not sure.
You inhale copper all day.
And Tennessee does have a pretty big copper mining industry, or did at the time. And so he was, studying that and figuring out sort of treatments and stuff like that while he was in prison. After he gets released from prison, he weirdly still has a medical license. I don't know how, but he does.
What was the time frame of this? When did this happen?
1917 is when he got his medical degree, and then shortly after.
That's why.
Because it says he lost his medical license after he got arrested, but somehow he got it reinstated. I don't know.
Free market, Leah.
I suppose. Anyway, so
it's on the consumer to know that guy's a fuckface.
I don't know. But anyway, after he got out of prison, he started working and was hired by the Tennessee Copper Company to treat miners for this lung disease that they were all getting. So
after he was researching it in prison.
Yes.
Okay.
So he became kind of an expert on this particular lung disease in prison. And so he came out of it and starts treating these copper miners, at the expense of the Tennessee Copper Company. Only he kind of ended up filing more claims than there were miners that had the disease. So he was...
to get the money.
Yeah, he was getting a lot more money from the company
Leah,
than he should have. So he was medical frauding.
Nobody's at fault for this. It's the free market. The man was trying to make some money. Again, it's on the consumer to know better.
Well, he was defrauding that company like crazy, so he was obviously fired from that job.
No.
And after he was fired from that job, he opened up his own community practice, the Hicks Community Clinic in McKaysville, Georgia. And that's where our story actually starts.
Son of a bitch, why did we...
Because we're setting up the fact that this guy is a unscrupulous character.
Okay.
All right. So he opened the McKaysville Clinic in 1951, and he spent a lot of time, treating normal local townsfolk issues. It was a small town, lots of farmers, just regular, someone had to have a finger amputated because they caught it in the combine. That kind of crazy stuff, but mostly just Jim Bob's got the flu. Let's fix him up. Someone's got the rickets. I don't know. I don't know 1950s diseases, but
It was mostly rickets. Yeah, you're right. There was a lot of rickets then.
Yeah, so...
like a lot of polio. Then they fixed it.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything about rickets anymore.
No.
I wonder why.
So, like I said, he was doing mostly mundane stuff, but that wasn't making him a ton of money because he was, according to the people that were living in the town, he was a really good doctor for them. He, would give free treatment to people that couldn't pay for it. He would make house calls for people that couldn't physically get to his clinic. Like, he was really good at taking care of his community. But he wanted to make that sweet, sweet money. So he realized that there was a very serious demand for an abortion clinic in that area.
Oh, God.
And it was illegal at the time. And just starting out here, we're not going to start a crazy debate about abortion. It was illegal at that time. So it was illegal for him to be doing it. Regardless of how you feel about it, it was illegal for him, and just as a medical doctor, he was not supposed to be providing these. Do I think it is a needed service? Yes. Do I think it should be available for someone that chooses that for themselves? Sure. But at the time, it was not legal at all anywhere, period. So just setting that up. So he began running a secret abortion clinic out of his, community clinic. And it was kind of just word of mouth, but then he also sort of wrote small advertisements and had them posted in phone booths and under bridges and in bathroom stalls and bus stations and, sort of, hey, call this number if you've got a problem, that kind of stuff. It was very word of mouth, very hush hush, but it was very popular. So people came from all over the Southeast.
It's very popular for people who have the money.
Yes.
Which is exactly why abortion being illegal will never work.
Exactly, because it's always going to be available for someone who can pay for it.
Correct.
I mean, it's just...
It's always extremely in vogue when you've got the funds.
And see, it was so in vogue with people that could afford it that they even had to build an airstrip in the next town over Ducktown. Ducktown.
Every day we're out here aborting babies in Ducktown.
Mitchell, you cannot say that. Fuck.
I'm sorry. It's over with now.
That is awful.
We might get this video taken down by YouTube.
Yeah.
Not because of what I said, but because I used the DuckTales song.
It wasn't good enough for that.
No, it wasn't.
That's not copyright infringement. You didn't sing it well enough. Anyway, but yeah, they built an airstrip in Ducktown, which is one town over, just so expensive folks could fly their people in, their daughters and wives or whatever, in from Atlanta and Chattanooga and Nashville to get an abortion. They specifically built a whole entire airstrip for easy, convenient abortions for rich people. And it was expensive. Like I said, he had been running that. He had been doing abortions since the 40s, but at that clinic there, he ran it for a good 10 years or so. And it started in the 50s or so, and he was asking people to pay $100 in the 50s a piece. And these were rural people that did not have a lot of money to their name in the first place. So scraping up $100 was a chore.
Don't say scraping up.
What's wrong with that?
I'm talking about the abortion, Leah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was talking about money. Oh, gross.
No, we know what you were talking
I'm sorry.
about.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
I apologize. But, so $100 was a lot of fucking money back then. And so it was a very expensive procedure, but he did not have any shortage of patients. And he continued to have people come in and pay their $100 to get rid of their problem. And so he made a lot of money doing that. But on top of that, he also had some people that, mostly the poor women, probably some that couldn't afford to pay that whole $100. He decided that it would be a really good idea to get into adoption services. And this is completely unlicensed adoption services. So he began a black market baby selling situation.
Yeah.
And it's estimated upwards of 200 plus babies. There's no real good specific number because obviously the records just don't exist. But mostly he relied on women who were young and poor and from sort of rural areas in Georgia and eastern Tennessee. And they'd come in needing an abortion. He may not have had enough money, or it may have been a lot later of a term than he was comfortable doing the procedure on. So he would convince them to carry the babies to full term. He would provide them a place to live in the clinic, or he would let them live on his farm, or he would put them up in a hotel in a nearby town, or he had even at one point in time a couple apartment buildings that he allowed women to live in while they were expecting, that he just had available for those people, and he had buyers all over the country. Specifically, there's in Ohio, there were a bunch of families the men were employed at some of the tire manufactories in Akron, Ohio.
This is the second time I've ever heard you say the term manufactories.
I'm sorry.
And I just don't know what that, like, if that's even a word.
It is a word. But anyway.
There are factories that manufacture things.
Yeah. It's a manufacturing. Look it up. It's a real word. Fuck off.
I don't know if it is, but it's
is.
just,
Google it.
I'd never heard it until a few weeks ago when you said it the first time. Never heard it.
Anyway.
And I've heard it again.
So about 50 babies were sent to Ohio via that connection. Most of the fathers heard about it and worked for the Goodrich, like the plant there in Akron, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of babies were sold out there. And then another doctor from out of Ohio bought 2 babies. So there's about 50 or 51 babies that we know went to Ohio because of some records that still existed on those children. But yeah, shot in the dark.
Oh, here we go, everybody.
How much was he selling each baby for?
Oh, shit.
A, $500. B, $1,000. Or C, $1,500.
Okay. So he was charging about $150 for the abortions.
$100 for the abortions.
$100. Okay. I think you got to make a profit on the babies, right? And there's no real overhead. You're just...
Well, you've got to put the mothers up for however long it takes them to finish out their pregnancies.
So that's why I'm saying $1,500.
You're incorrect. It's $1,000.
You're a problem, Leah. I need my second shot. Goddamn.
I'm sorry.
Hello? Who's there? Drunk Mitchell.
What was the telephone for?
Because I was going to pick up and be all fucked up. And be like,
hey.
I'm here.
Anyway.
Wait, I should have done the doorbell for that one. Hold on, let me find it.
You can't.
I don't know where it is.
Do it.
I don't know where it is anyway. Wait.
All right.
Goddamn.
No one wants to wait on your sound.
Wake up. Mitch is drunk.
Already here. Anyway. So, so they paid about $1,000 a piece for each child, which once again was a fuck ton of money. But he was really popular for getting children because he could make sure that the birth certificates he already had buyers lined up, so he knew who was going to get each baby. And the thing for him was like, you can't pick if it's a girl or a boy. You get whatever's coming out of the next woman that has a child that is in my care. Mm-hmm. So if you were picky, he didn't like you and he wasn't going to work with you. So you got whatever was coming. But he made sure that the actual birth certificate, since he was the one filling it out, it said the adoptive parents' names on it. Like the initial original birth certificate, the official documentation said that it was the adoptive parents that had birthed the child. So the original birth mothers, were discreetly gone after the baby was born. And, the parents had 24 hours to come pick up the baby. And then, if they didn't show up and get the baby, they'd go on to the next group of people.
I really hope we post this video because the dog is on the table. I put
He's
him
a good
up there.
boy.
Oh, there he goes.
But yeah, so that is sort of how they did that whole
This
thing.
is fucked up.
Yeah.
Fucked right up. But so the mothers knew he was taking them, though, at least.
Yeah, the mothers knew that he had adoptive parents lined up for these children, so they didn't feel bad about it, and they were like, and it's not really said whether or not he gave them any kind of financial compensation other than the fact that he provided for them while they were pregnant. And it's not like he was... There are some versions of this story that really demonize this man, which it's fucked up. I think he shouldn't have been doing this stuff. But some people are saying, like, he was fucking girls in town just to make sure that he had more business. And from everything that I can tell...
Ain't nobody that fucking fertile. Not since Genghis Khan has somebody been that fertile.
And from what I can tell, that's not accurate. It's a very sensationalized version of this particular story. But I think he did prey on, like, the rich girls got the abortions they were after immediately because they could pay for them. But I think he was preying on emotionally women that couldn't afford his services. And they ended up giving birth and having to give up a child immediately. You know, that's kind of fucked up and weird.
They didn't want the child, right?
No, they did not. He wasn't stealing babies or anything. He was just illegally selling children, which once again is fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so
speaking of, I fucked up because the dog won't get off the table now. He won't come to me. I can't get him down. Dobby, come here. Oh, there. Never mind. All right,
it's
Dobby
fine.
corner.
He's a good boy.
Down. All right, we're good.
But anyway, so they don't really know exactly, once again, how many illegal child sellings he conducted. But eventually he was stripped of his medical license for the final time in 1964, but he never did any jail time for selling babies. Yeah. And he was only stripped of his medical license because abortions were illegal and that wasn't okay.
Not for selling children.
But not for selling children. And he didn't do any jail time, especially because everybody in the town that he was a doctor in really fucking liked him. He was, a member of the Kiwanis Club. He was a member of the First Baptist Church. He donated a whole organ to the church. Like,
you have hiccups?
Yes.
Some weird shit's happening over there.
He donated the organ to the church, and he was, like I said, known to provide medicine to people who couldn't afford it in the town. He was like a good doctor for the area. He was just doing all this extra crazy bullshit. And I think that's, in fact, where the problem lies, of course. And
going
so...
off the green screen so y'all can see the dog a little bit. There he is.
Oh, that poor puppy. But anyway, so... all of this story kind of came to light in 1997 because several of the Hicks babies started digging into their ancestry. And ancestry, like DNA, I think it was Ancestry.com, they started doing DNA tests with the children. Mm-hmm. And some of the early DNA tests are showing that they aren't actually related to the people that they think they're related to. And they're like, holy shit. And anyway, eventually this whole thing comes out and Ancestry.com teams up with some of them along with the ABC News team. And they do a bunch of DNA tests in members of families. And anyway, the research teams made several matches. Several people met cousins and siblings and parents and that kind of thing. And they actually did do, a couple years ago, TLC did a whole documentary. I think you can find it on YouTube still, called Taken at Birth. Yeah. And it's just the whole story, and it follows several different of the Hicks babies about being sold out of Georgia when they were infants. And it takes them through some of the... the reunification, the finding out their whole story and stuff like that. If you're interested in that, like I said, I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube. But yeah, they did that whole situation, but they also interviewed people from the town that actually, once again, really liked the doctor and thought he was a good doctor. But one of the things that a lady in the thing says is, a resident that knew him and was a patient of his at the time, and basically she was just saying he didn't perform any services that people didn't request.
Yeah.
So like
he wasn't.
He was morally reprehensible for sure, but they were consenting to it.
Right. He wasn't forcing anything upon anyone or heavily suggesting you need this.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there is a power dynamic in the fact that those women were in poverty and they were impregnated when they probably didn't want to be.
Of the proceeds to the women?
See, and that I don't know.
I would doubt it.
Like I seriously doubt it. I think they would have seen it more as this man's going to make sure that I'm taken care of while I'm pregnant, and that nobody in my town has to know where I'm at for 8 months, and then I get to come back home and be all like, "Oh, what a trip to Aunt Becky's," you know, that kind of thing.
I want to talk about those DNA service things real quick, because when the Green River Killer that was found out from the DNA thing? I don't think it was Green
Golden State Killer?
Golden State Killer, that's what I'm thinking of. Excuse me. Your dad, who's not like a conspiracy guy at all, was very into that one because he was like, I've been telling people for years, y'all keep sending off your DNA and they're going to find you or somebody close to you. You know, they're going to subpoena shit and do this and that and this and that.
As soon as he started hearing about the ancestry kind of stuff, he's like, man, that's a bad choice. They're going to start finding criminals that way. And I was like, there's no fucking way. Why would they do that? How would they? And sure the fuck enough, he was right.
But also, I want to say that the reason I wanted to talk about this is because not one of the major ones that advertise, every one of them said it wasn't us. Yeah. We didn't do it. So who the fuck was it? Who's out there just collecting DNA?
Oh, I mean, there's that's they've already said, if you've read any of those things, you would know there are actually several free source websites
you don't pay
that
for them?
No, it's a open source database. Sorry,
nice throat noise there. That's not even gas. Leah just gets like build up from talking.
Yeah,
it happens every episode. I don't know if y'all noticed, but that was a good one. That was a real good one.
I'm bad at burping, and that didn't come out as a full burp.
It wasn't even a burp.
It was a burp, but it didn't come out like a burp.
Go ahead with what you were saying. The free DNA things.
Anyway, there's an open source DNA repository. There's a couple of different websites that you can, if you have gotten a DNA test from 23andMe or Ancestry or any of those services that you pay for, you can take your results and freely post them on those things to help people find
others.
Yeah, so like if you took a 23andMe test and someone else that you were looking for took an Ancestry test, you wouldn't match up on their databases. So everybody puts it on this one, and you can sort of find matches that you wouldn't find otherwise because you were taking different brands of the test. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of people put it on there because they're doing genealogy research and that kind of thing. So that's what those services were originally used for. But since it is an open source database, anybody, including law enforcement officers, can search it. And they did. And that's how they found him. But bam.
Well, see, that's why they all said not one person came to us and demanded or requested information.
Yeah, because they didn't, and they didn't have to, because it was all readily available and put on by the people that took the test.
It was just so
because
funny
they chose to.
That when that news broke that the Golden State Killer was caught, your dad was like, I've been telling people.
Yeah, and he has.
For years.
Legitimately
They're gonna
has.
catch you or somebody you know doing something because you wanted to know that you came from Scotland 400 years ago.
Yeah. And see, and my dad is he's not a criminal element. He's never done anything crazy.
And he's never been conspiracy minded.
No,
really.
He's not. But he's also very serious about privacy and making sure that, like, he doesn't. He's a private person and doesn't want, all sorts of stuff about him all over the place, Yeah. And that's just his thing. Like, nope. He draws the line at DNA, and he was right. I thought
we should all be drawing the line at DNA. I draw the line at DNA.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was crazy bullshit when he
we got to start making T-shirts.
I thought it was crazy bullshit when he first said it, but like 2 years later, I be shit,
Yeah, well, I be shit.
But yeah, so that's the story of the Hicks babies. And also sources for that, AppalachianHistory.net has an excellent article on that particular story. Some fun pictures that go with it. Check out that website because I absolutely adore it, AppalachianHistory.net. And then there was another article on CountryLiving.com, which is fun. It's a magazine.
The dog's up.
And they had an article just about some of the babies that had been reunited with families and the general history of it. And then also Wikipedia, because what is our show without a little bit of Wikipedia?
Without a lot of bit of Wikipedia.
That's only when you do the show.
Yep. The way it should be done.
Yes.
When I do it.
Indeed.
Reading you the Wikipedia page. I think the dog's ready to get down. I can't tell.
Good boy.
Nope, he seems fine.
He's just looking for something to lick up.
Yep.
Ah, bless his heart. Anyway.
Well, the other dog came in and now he's curious.
Yep.
Because she's being a bitch. She knows they're about to get done. Y'all. Every time, because they're so used to it, every time that Leah says, bye, y'all, at the end, the dogs get up and run to the back door.
Yeah, in unison. They know that that's the cue to we're going out real soon.
See, I said it, and this dog hasn't moved. But, like, they know when the show winds down, and they know that it's time for them to go out.
Yep.
And, it's so funny. It's so
adorable.
Cute.
But anyway, are you ready for a toast?
Yes, give me a toast.
Okay, everybody hoist your water bottles high into the sky.
I still got Imperial Cream Ale. I still got Coquito.
Coquito!
Mm-hmm.
All right. The lady in white was shot down in her prime. She now tucks in children for spooky bedtimes. $1,000 bought folks a child. 23andMe tests got those babies riled. Drink.
Riled?
Riled. Like all riled up. Because they got sold when they were infants.
Hey, did Ric Flair ever do one of those? To find out who his parents were?
I have no idea. I really don't know the answer to that.
Can you find out for me?
No.
We can go back and add in an appendix.
No.
To the piezoelectric hootenanny?
That's going to be a no from me, sir. If you want to learn more about it, you can research it.
Y'all, there's a Wikipedia page that is fucking... Anyway, look up Georgia Tan on Wikipedia. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's startling. Anyway. It was for me anyway.
Yeah.
I find her to be a lot more evil than this guy, and this guy's kind of a shady bastard, but like Georgia Tan
was way worse.
Yeah, Georgia Tan was kidnapping people and like telling people that their child was stillborn and just selling
that story
it. Like
was way worse.
That was way worse. This is like Georgia Tan light, free edition.
Like I'm not saying this is okay. Like in our black and white world where there's no fucking nuance. Let me just clarify that I'm not saying this guy's a hero.
That guy's fine.
I'm saying this guy fucking sucks. But Georgia Tan was
way worse.
That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Fucking way worse, man.
That's it. I'm not saying this guy's fine because Georgia Tan was a worse person.
No. But she was.
I'm
for
angry,
the record.
I'm angry about nothing at this point. Just as no one said a word, I'm just furious. You motherfuckers. This happened in the car earlier today. I got angry at somebody who wouldn't let me merge on the interstate. And Leah went, "You all right?" And I just kept going, "That motherfucker." Just the rest of the drive. That motherfucker. Just unreasonably angry for no reason.
Yeah. He does that.
It was unreasonable for no reason.
Usually you don't get road rage, but when you do, it's just like you seethe for a minute.
Yeah,
like I yell really loud for a few seconds and then I'm like, oh, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah.
And then I stop.
Shitballs, fire, damn.
Yeah, I just get mad and it's a mild explosive language and then I stop. But you were just like, that motherfucker for a good mile and a half. And I'm like, dude, are you okay?
That motherfucker. I'm still angry about that.
I know you are.
Motherfucker, learn how to zip or merge. Son of a bitch.
He was a really bad driver. Like I usually don't judge people because I'm not the best driver myself. Well, I'm a fine driver, but I'm a bad parker. But like I try to give people grace when it comes to moving vehicles because as long as you don't run into that guy was not a good driver. But what are you gonna do?
That motherfucker. Still upset about that.
I'm sorry.
Like I'm upset at people being like, oh, this guy's fine aborting people and just selling babies. Yeah, this guy's fine. No, Georgia Tan's worse.
Yeah.
You sons of bitches.
Yeah, Georgia Tan's real bad.
You motherfuckers.
Anyway.
Well, I guess that's it.
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
Are we all done?
Yeah.
Well, let's close it out.
Okay.
And hopefully this goes up on Facebook. We'll see. Don't know. Either way, Leah and I have a fun video with the dog on the table.
Most definitely.
So, all right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and go subscribe to us on YouTube. Check us out over there if you care. It's just us sitting here with a dog on the table yet again. Send us an email, southernspiritspodcast@gmail.com. Join the Patreon if you want some actual affection from us, patreon.com/southernspiritspodcast.
TikTok.
Send us a postcard or anything else fun to P.O. Box 1743. Oh, shit. Hartselle, Alabama, 35640. You said TikTok. It got me fucked up.
Sorry.
Follow us on TikTok because I didn't say that with the social medias.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I'm doing really well on TikTok, y'all. I feel fancy.
Leah's kind of a TikTok star at this point.
Yeah. I mean, not like a star, but like, you know.
Save it for a TikTok, Leah.
Okay.
Save it.
Okay.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.